Okay, so I'm a multi-generational Texan. My family comes from South Texas. I live in Southwest Texas. I was born in San Antonio, raised in the suburbs south of San Antonio, out in the Elmendorf, Texas area. And let me tell you a little something. If anybody knows Texas, it's me. All right? I probably know more about this state than what the talking heads and the politicians who run this friggin' show know about this state. Okay? Could Texas ever become its own country? Legally, the Supreme Court of the United States says no. But I want to pose a question to you. Has that ever stopped Texas? I mean, we just tend to do whatever the hell we want anyway. Supreme Court, federal government, piss on you. And if you're the federal government, you have to be wondering right now, are you going to have to put Texas in its place once and for all? Make an example. Bend these little shits over your knee and spank them. Like, take your belt off and whip the dog shit out of them. Abuse them if necessary. Because that's all that's going to stop them from raising so much hell that they try to do a TEXIT. Every single day, I see cars driving up and down the interstate saying, TEXIT now, TEXIT now, TEXIT now. Do you realize what happens when you do that? Every penny of federal funding that your ass needs to stay afloat is gone. Well, Texas would be the 9th largest economy in the world, Matt, if we was our own country. It only works that way if you have responsible people running the show. And we've proved in Texas that our politicians and our political leaders aren't responsible. We have a state land commissioner who's more worried about fucking abortion than she is anything. She's more worried about, pissing on the grave of every Democrat that ever existed because that's what Rick Perry and Donald Trump like. I mean, these are kind of clowns that we have running this show. They're not responsible people. You see, land commissioner, launching platform to be governor, God forbid. State comptroller, launch pad to one day be governor. So on and so forth. That's all this is. So if you look at this current crop of dipshits that are running things, irresponsible leadership runs deep in this place. So forget that idea. Texas, if it becomes its own country, could do okay if it's handled responsibly. The problem is we don't have responsible leadership. They're too busy out there sucking pee-pee and spitting than doing the business of Texas. They're worried about saving their own asses instead of handling the business of Texas and Texans. And that's because we allow it to happen. You see, Texas could be its own country. Sure. If they went rogue and they went renegade and they did it, Texas is they're not scared of being a renegade. They're not scared of doing their own thing. They prove it time and time again. And they twitch their ass at the federal government and say, Danny, look what we did. Shit. Now smell it, federal government. Smell it. They're not very easy people to deal with, our political leaders. And this trickles all the way down to the local level. I mean, to your city council level, your county commissioner level, city offices. These are not very good people. I think they at one time were probably good people with good intentions, but like with everything, power corrupts. I mean, you could make the argument that Greg Abbott has become a millionaire multi times over, and the only thing he's ever been is a public servant. Well, apparently, if you want to make you a shit ton of money, just run for public office. You know, just keep running for public office and keep convincing people to give you money, and you become a millionaire. You say, well, that's good investments. I call that a good fucking sham. I mean, you're convincing people to give you money and you don't do a fucking thing for them. I mean, that's the truth of it. Just go up there and tell people what they want to hear. That's America. Well, if you're the federal government, you have to be watching America right now. You have to be watching Texas. I mean, I'm not convinced that they didn't kill a Supreme Court justice. You can't prove it by me. I mean, he just so happens to come down here and go bird hunting and has a heart attack. Let's take a real look at that autopsy. I mean, don't put it above these people. I mean, they just make up fucking criminal charges on people every day they don't like, and they just try to put them in jail. Why wouldn't they be above killing somebody that they don't agree with? Or that might speak out against them? That's what these idiots do. That's what corruption does. And Texas is the poster child for corruption. And I love my state. I do. I love this state. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth. But what these crackheads have done to it is miserable. It's absolutely miserable. Now, if you look at this, most people in Texas are probably centrist, but they don't know who to vote for. Do you vote for Trump? I mean, this man stands against every good and decent thing that you've ever imagined the Republican Party could be. This man's against it. Then you've got Grandpa Joe, who just is so out of touch with the average Texan that it's unreal. I have nothing wrong with a lot of the rules that Texas has for itself. But rules are only as good as the people that administer those rules. And most of these people are pretty damn bad. So I think that if you're the Speaker of the House, if you're Dade Phelan, you just stand up and you just bitch slap these fuckers. I mean, it's easier said than done. I know that. But if that's what it takes, bitch slap them. Knock them in the head. Make an example out of them. Unfortunately, I don't think Dade Phelan has that kind of authority. I don't think he's got that kind of power. But the voters have that kind of power. You see, the voters in Texas don't agree with this idea, this Paul Piercy idea, which I'll get into in another time. But they don't get into this idea that they want to create a theocracy, which is what these idiots want to create. They want to create a theocracy, not a democracy. Okay, they want to destroy democracy and create theocracy based off of Christian theology. Most Texans would not agree with that. Though they're church-going people, though they're, God-fearing people, most Texans would not agree with that because they like their independence. They like being able to choose. They like the government not telling them what to do. And they realize that the party that's in control telling them you have all this freedom is really creating a bunch of new laws that take away your independence and your right to choose. You see, democracy was failed from the get-go. The founders of this country never intended it to be a total democracy. They never intended that. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way right now. America was founded on objectionists. Okay? It was founded by people who objected to the British rule of government, the British rule of law. So they came over here and they stole the land from a bunch of people who were here long before they were. And they say, well, we fought for it. They were patriots. If you call a goddamn thief a patriot, I mean, that's all these people were, just a bunch of goddamn thieves. I mean, that's what they did. They came up. There is proof that Columbus never discovered America. Never. There's proof of this. How about the Welsh? Look up the Kensington Stone. Maybe the Welsh discovered it. Are you a Mason? Come on. Those of us who are in that circle know the truth. We know that Columbus did not discover America. We know that. We know that the Knights Templar has a much deeper root in America than even Christopher Columbus. We know that the Native Americans have a society similar to the Masonic order. We know that. And we know that these people were here, the Knights Templar were here much earlier than Columbus. So don't give me all this shit. These people were objectionist, rebellious thieves that took the land from people who were already here. And they claimed, well, this is our land. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. Well, it's not. It never was. And the academics can try to shut me down on that all they want. And the talking heads can try to shut me down on all this all they want. But the truth is the truth. America was founded by a bunch of damn thieves, and they all decided to come to Texas. Because, by God, they didn't like being told what to do. So they come to Texas to start their own little place out here. So they stole the land from another place, from Mexico, and from Spain, and from everybody else who claimed to Texas. You just come over here, you don't like something, you fucking steal it. Now they're just playing a different rule of order. So, welcome to Texas, the land of where objectionists can be objectionist and be free all they want. Texas has a real problem, or does America have a real problem with Texas?